India's economic growth forward. Today, we are privileged to have a distinguished panel of experts, industry leaders, and policymakers who will share their insights and experiences on the challenges and opportunities for the MSME sector. Maharashtra, as we know, is home to over 4.5 million MSMEs, accounting for 17.7% of the MSMEs nationally. Pune is among the top regions contributing to this, with a diverse industrial base across key sectors, including automotive, semiconductors, IT, pharmaceutical, biotechnology, and more based in Pune. Coming to Pune, we admit, was long overdue. So we welcome Aditya Birla Finance Limited as the presenting partner for the upcoming 6 cities of ET Make in India SME Regional Summit. So once again, we welcome each one of you to this beautiful evening. Before we start anything in the day, anything in the event, a round of applause for all of you for joining us here today and making this summit so special. So as we know, in our country, we start anything that's auspicious to us with lamp lighting. It is said that the fire in lamp ignites the fire within us to grow and achieve something bigger in our lives. So we'll start this beautiful evening as well with lamp lighting. And for the same, I would be inviting our dignitaries present here with us on stage. So join me in welcoming Mr. Rakesh Singh, Managing Director and CEO, Aditya Birla Finance Limited. A round of applause for Mr. Rakesh Singh for joining us here today. Along with him, I would also request Mr. Munawar Javed, Chief Credit Officer, Aditya Birla Finance Limited, to join us here. A round of applause for Mr. Javed. Let's put our hands together and welcome Mr. Shantanu Basu, Head SME Aditya Birla Finance Limited. A round of applause for Mr. Shantanu for joining us here today. I would also be inviting Mr. Shirish Mathur, Head SME Products and Digital Platforms, Aditya Birla Finance Limited. A round of applause for Mr. Mathur for being here with us. I would also be inviting Mr. Pran, Senior Associate Editor, economictimes.com. A round of applause for Mr. Pran for joining us here today. Let's put our hands together and welcome Ms. Neha Devan, Assistant News Editor, economictimes.com. A round of applause for Ms. Neha Devan for joining us here today. I would request you all to please do the honors. A round of applause for this auspicious start of the evening that we are witnessing. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here. Thank you so much. A round of applause for all our dignitaries present here with us today. Without further ado, let's start this exciting evening that we all were waiting for. And to begin with, and to set the context for the event, I would be now inviting on stage Mr. Pran, Senior Associate Editor, economictimes.com. A round of applause for Mr. Pran for joining us here today.
Yep. Mr. Rakesh Singh, MD and CEO, ABFL, Rishi Agarwal, CEO Team Leads, RegTech, Jaideep Malviya, MD Malviya Solar Energy Consultancy, Indranil Chitale from Chitale Bandhu, panel members and everyone else present here. Good evening to you and welcome to ET MSME Regional Summit. So it's good to be back in Pune, and personally for me, I think it's after 22 years that I'm back in the city. The last time I was here, this was during the first year of my college, and me along with a couple of my friends, we decided to come to Pune and meet our pals here. We were all from a boarding school in Assam, and when you're in a residential school, you tend to develop those close bonds. And we thought, let's go meet these people in Pune and figure out how the city is. So even before the trip began, someone came up and said, you should go to this bakery and try out the special biscuits. You shouldn't miss them. Apparently this bakery had millions of devotees, and all their ingredients came together, in this perfect gastronomical harmony. They said it could not be improved or ameliorated. It is already the best. So yes, came down to the town and tried those biscuits. And did it live up to the hype? Yes, it certainly did. But what I completely missed at that time was that, how a small bakery from Pune was able to transcend state borders and reach out to this consumer from Assam. And these were the pre-social media days, and this brand still managed to cut across the country purely based on quality and what it was offering to its consumers, and doing this consistently over the years. Today we have an audience, one such brand, the Chitale Bandhu, and that journey is also similar in nature. But personally, I'm looking to hear more of that. The popularity of brands in Pune is just not limited to food, however. From education to IT to auto, Pune boasts about a plethora of businesses today that straddle different aspects of business. So what has worked for Pune? Difficult to pinpoint on one reason. Some say it's the auto sector which paved the way for economic gains. Others talk of the educational institutes that arm the youth with necessary skills. In fact, Pune is one of those few cities that not only has an industrial base, but also has a thriving ecosystem for arts and culture. The cultural capital of Maharashtra, Pune today has a cosmopolitan identity with multi-ethnic personality, which has gone on to add that little extra to this cultural scene. What is often overlooked is that arts and culture spark creativity and innovation, skills that are sought by business leaders. Arts and culture not only enhance the quality of life, but also stimulate economic development. On that front, Pune has done well. But there are areas of concern. There's an estimate that Pune has about 7.42 lakh MSMEs. Don't hold me to it. Out of these, 7.23 maybe belong to micro, about 16,000 small, and about 1,700 medium businesses. These numbers are, of course, a fraction of millions of them that continue to be outside the formal setup and exist in the informal economy. Now, the problem area. Clearly, it's the number of medium enterprises that needs to scale up. 1,700 odd is just not good enough. The problem exists on a national scale as well. And in fact, there's a huge impediment to scaling up. Compliance is one such issue, and I think Rishi today will talk more about it and throw better light on what are the problems around compliance. Finance is another issue, and I'm glad we have Aditya Birla Finance as one of our partners. And I hope that, over the course of the evening, your funding and your financing needs can be, ironed out in some ways or the other. Beyond scaling up, one of the main reasons for doing this MSME Regional Summit was to go out to different parts of the country and meet companies who form the economic backbone of India. We wanted to hear the phenomenal stories. We wanted to hear about the innovations taking place, the problems being faced, and the road ahead. The aim of the summit is to create a platform for all stakeholders to have a conversation and to ensure we get the best out of our MSMEs. These summits are also a great source of knowledge for us. Each one of you in this room are the real practitioners, and I personally get to learn so much from each one of you every single time. We want to hear from you, and we want to hear about you, and this summit is an excellent platform to do this. I would also take this opportunity to talk about the ET MSME Awards, the nominations for which is now open. We are looking for India's top small businesses, from manufacturing to services to exports to innovations. If you think you have done exemplary work, please nominate yourself. I end by saying that MSME in the country, as an MSME in the country, you need to work by ethics, integrity, and common sense. Many a times you have to stop thinking and start doing. But as wonderful and sweet as those biscuits 20 years ago were, they're still the same today. And fortitude is one aspect that impresses me the most about small businesses. Some things change, some remain the same. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for setting the context for the event. Moving ahead, next up is a conversation that promises to be engaging. Aditya Birla Finance Limited has been fueling MSME growth across India by facilitating easy access to credit and finance, the most important ingredient in growth of any business. Also, the Udyog Plus platform of Aditya Birla Finance Limited is the one-stop solution for all growth-related requirements of MSMEs. We will discuss this in length in our upcoming session. And to moderate the same, I would once again like to invite Mr. Pran on stage. A round of applause for Mr. Pran for joining us here today. I would also request Mr. Rakesh Singh, MD and CEO, Aditya Birla Finance Limited, to join us on stage for this session. Over to you, Mr. Pran. We have 15 minutes for this exciting session.
Hello. It's on. Great. So, Rakesh, good to have you with us. Since you partnered with us, I have to say that you're probably very bullish on MSMEs. What's behind this optimism, and what brings you to Pune?
Hello, good evening everyone. We are quite excited to be here in Pune on a Friday evening, and sorry to pull you here on a Friday evening. So you said, why are we so bullish on the MSMEs and all? I think the reality is MSMEs are the backbone of any economy. So is it for India. Almost 1/3 of the GDP is contributed by MSMEs. And also, if you look at the credit gap in this segment is huge because the access to formal credit in this segment is almost 50 odd percent, 40-50%, and remaining 50% of the MSMEs don't have access to any formal credit. But things are changing. Things are changing post, if you look at the digital infrastructure which has been built, the digital payments which the MSMEs are now participating in, the GST registration which is there. I think all of this is propelling MSMEs to come into the formal ambit of the economy. So, and also around almost 99% of our MSMEs are small in nature, micro in nature. Their needs are very, very small and very retail kind of needs. So they are now, through the digital payment infrastructure, through GST registration, they are moving into the formal ambit. And that provides us an opportunity for a player like us to understand them, understand their needs, and really provide them financing solutions through our customized solutions, platforms, and one of the platforms, Udyog Plus, which was mentioned, and we will showcase that later in the evening. So we are quite excited because 30% of the GDP is coming from MSME. I think the MSME ministry is targeting 50% contribution of the GDP should come from this sector. So quite excited, and the opportunity is huge. How do we really leverage on that? I think that we will have to see how we really pan this out.
Right. So you mentioned the credit gap, and that's interesting because, depending on whom you ask, lenders say that, there is a lack of data, and there is lack of qualified borrowers. If you ask the borrowers, they would say that, lenders are generally very wary, if not, completely hesitant in lending, even if they are credit worthy. So where is the truth?
So the truth is somewhere in between. And if you look at the consumer credit, and I just want to give an example of consumer credit. In the last couple of decades, the way the consumer credit has grown, on the backdrop of a very strong credit bureau, which has been built. I think credit bureau is pretty strong. If you look at the consumer credit over the last 5-6 years itself, from a 22 lakh odd crores to almost 53, 54 lakh crores, the way it has grown. So consumer side of the credit has really expanded massively over the last 4-5 years. On the MSME side, the points and the issues which you raise in terms of how do you understand, assess the cash flows of the customers, and those were one of the challenges with us, lenders or institutions. How do you assess the repayment capability of MSME because the balance sheets are not very established or authenticated or validated, whatever you want to call it, because these are very small business owners and they are really looking at everyday business. So I think that was a challenge, which in a way is getting mitigated by a lot of digital transactions which is taking place, not only on the consumer side, but the MSMEs are adopting to digital transactions hugely, and that's helping in terms of, so now you have access to account aggregator. So an MSME who's using digital payments and has a bank account, their banking behavior can be established, and you know what is the banking behavior of these small business owners are. Then, as I mentioned earlier, GST registration, so you know what is the kind of business or the turnover these business owners can do. And all of this, and also now the consumer commercial bureau is getting strengthened. So, and also, if I just compare it with on the consumer side, as I mentioned, consumer side, the consumer credit has grown quite exponentially over the last 4-5 years. And here the needs of these small business owners are also very retail, very consumer-like, because these are micro in nature. Their needs are 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh ticket sizes and all. So you have to deal with them like a consumer, because even if you see from an organization structure point of view, a lot of them are sole proprietorships. So we have to understand their needs and their requirements, and how do we really structure their transactions. The challenge with this sector has been that banks, either they focus on the consumer side or the corporate side, and this falls in between somewhere. So not too many banks have been able to, or for that matter, institutions have been able to do justice. And but as they come into the formal ambit of the economy, I believe that this sector will be well served through the credit provided by all of us who are involved, and we are very bullish on this sector. So I see, I think, encouraging years coming.
Right. So you said something, interesting, where you're saying that, small business probably, looks a little like, the consumer lending part of it. So what's your playbook when it comes to, SME lending? How is it different lending to small businesses? ABFL has been in this game for over a decade now. Do you, I mean, like you mentioned, is it more like you like to put them in a consumer type of a bracket? What's your playbook?
I think we will have to really find solutions. It's not one size which fits all. I think for MSMEs, especially the small business owner, they're looking at cash flow. How do you working capital requirements? So invoice discounting or purchase finance, if they have an order and they want to purchase material to supply, because these businesses are feeder to the large corporates in a way, the entire ecosystem. If you look at the value chain, they supply to a mid-size MSMEs and then they to the large corporates. So they are the feeders. So their cash flows has to be, they are looking for the cash flows. So, or the working capital requirement, which, so clearly we look at how do we provide them for purchase finance. We are looking at them how we can discount their invoices. If they're a channel to an anchor or a mid-size or a large corporate, how do we really provide them channel finance? So clearly, also if they're looking at setting up a small workshop or setting up a shop, we are there to provide them the capital term loans as well. So clearly looking at end-to-end, what is their needs, how do we really serve those needs, is just not, on the consumer side, it's much easier that they can take an education loan or a personal loans, or they take a personal loans, use it as an education loan, take a personal loans, use for marriage, use for, so different end use can be anything, but the way you take loan as a personal loans. Here, I think we will have to create solutions which are more focused on the requirement of these small businesses. And I think that's what we are trying to do on our platform, and which my team will present later. I think we are really looking at how do we provide the entire supply chain financing, the term loans which can be needed for a business expansion purpose, merchant cash advance, which let's say a small business owner or a small shop owner wants to have cash flow. So we are looking at for all these different segments, different products, which really caters to their needs. And it's not one size or one product which fits all.
Right. So how do you guys typically function? How do you reach out to MSMEs across different towns, cities? I was speaking to a colleague of yours. The digital part also seems to be doing well now. How does it work?
So we have two-pronged strategy, clearly. So we have physical branches. So we have a large physical distribution of branches, because in this segment also touch and feel is important. But as I mentioned, for small ticket loans and small business owners, we have built this platform, B2B platform, Udyog Plus, where an MSME can apply for a loan, and the entire the loan journey is digital. So if all the documents are submitted, it can be an instant approval and instant disbursement can happen up to a certain ticket size. If the customer is looking for a higher ticket size, they need to provide additional document, and that can be analyzed, and immediate decisioning can be done. So I think what we are trying to do is we are trying to address this sector not only through a digital platform or an app, but we are trying to address this where they are. So physical branches, physical footprint, industry and SME clusters, we are trying to open our, and the way we have looked at, and I think the figures which were given, almost 4.5 million out of 6.3 million MSMEs are here in Maharashtra. So go down deep into Maharashtra and open many branches, as many branches as possible, so that the touch and feel of these small business people or their requirements, we can do it through our branches. And this platform which we have built is clearly not only deals with the loan requirement or their borrowing needs, but also if they need a protection for insurance, protection for their shop or the workshop, or protection keyman insurance, or if they have surplus funds, if they want to invest. And then we have brought in a value-added services on this platform in terms of if they need accounting solutions, payroll management, anything. So we have, so that he has to just forget, come on the app, come and avail the services on the app and can really focus on the business. So that's how we are really looking at both the physical side and the digital side, because in India, as we all know, I think digital transactions has been growing rapidly, and we want to leverage that entire ecosystem and clearly focus and really reach out to the clients where they are.
Great. To keep pace with time, I think last question to you would be, how are regulations and how the regulatory authorities helping the NBFC sector and players like yours? Are we seeing enough innovation in this space? We have initiatives like the Unified Lending Interface. Are we seeing enough of those, and are those actually having an impact on the ground?
So if you see over the last 4-5 years, a lot of innovation is happening in the sector, a lot of fintechs. And I think the best part of the startups, of the fintechs, is that all of us needs to collaborate and bring the solution, the best solution to the customers. And that's exactly what, so a lot of innovation has happened by the fintechs, and also clearly that's what we are leveraging. Banks are leveraging, all financial institutions are leveraging to really reach out and provide a solution. To your question on, from a regulatory point of view, RBI, as you mentioned, Unified Lending Plan, ULI, which they are, it's still in a pilot stage, but the thought process there is, it's a middle layer where they have integrated with all services or all services. So you don't have to, if you want to lend to someone, we don't have to individually go and integrate with different service providers or banking providers or land. So they are digitizing the land records on that ULI. So clearly that will make life much simpler for people like us when we are lending to small business owners, because I think you can access information on that platform, and we don't have to, because what happens is when you are integrating and developing your own platform, it takes 6 to 9 months to build your own platform and the investments and everything which goes behind that. But here is a regulator who's creating that platform and is providing it to the lenders that come, access this, use it, and make credit more available at a smaller, granular level and to a small business guys.
Right. And it helps by preventing deduplication of efforts as well.
Oh, completely. Yeah. Oh, completely. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. Great. I think the time's up, and I think we could have gone on and on, but real pleasure talking to you, Mr. Singh.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Singh, for joining us here. I request you to please stay here with us for a moment. I request you to please be here with us for a moment. And I would request Mr. Pran to hand over a small token of appreciation from our side to Mr. Singh for joining us here today. A round of applause for both the gentlemen present here with us. Moving ahead, when it comes to growth and scaling, this is one challenge that most of you may have encountered: compliance. Our next session is with an expert who will decipher this and more for you. So next is going to be a brief presentation on India's regulatory cholesterol, how compliances shackle MSMEs. And to give away this presentation, I would be now inviting on stage Mr. Rishi Agarwal, co-founder and CEO of Team Lease RegTech Private Limited. A round of applause for Mr. Rishi Agarwal for joining us here today.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here, Pran, Sharik, Neha. Thank you for inviting me over. It's a pleasure. Congratulations to ET to continue to stay focused on the needs of MSME. We heard Rakesh talk about a few statistics. Let me lead with some statistics here, and then we'll get into the meat of our conversation today. So Rakesh told us that MSMEs contribute about 30% to the country's GDP. Let me extend those numbers, about 45% to exports, and they absorb about 100 million people in direct jobs. We often hear people say India needs more enterprises. Well, let's look at the facts. I have a little bit of a contradictory view here. India already has 63 million enterprises up at the top of the funnel, out of which only 12 million are registered for GST. Among them, only 1 million are formal enterprises. That's not it. Only 500,000 of them are contributing directly to ESI and PF on a monthly basis. So only 500,000 are actually active enterprises. Only 70,000 of the 500,000 have revenues of greater than 5 crores. That's not the end of the story. Only 23,500 of them have a paid-up share capital of more than 10 crores. Only 8,000 of them are listed, and only 5,000 of them are sizably listed. So if you look at these numbers, there's a huge drop between the number of enterprises that India has and number of productive enterprises that India has. A lot of these enterprises, which typically fall into the MSME segment, they often lack access to institutional capital. Rakesh talked extensively on that. They don't have access to latest technology. They lack the productivity that is required. They're not connected to institutional capital. They become a victim of force majeure, events like pandemic. All of those are natural fallouts of being an MSME. Now let me give you American numbers. India has 63 million enterprises with a revenue of 3 trillion thereabouts. Can anyone tell me what is the number of enterprises US has? It's only 33 million. So they have 30 million less enterprises than India has. Can anyone tell me what's the GDP of US? It's about 8 to 9 times of Indian GDP. So what it tells you is India has created a vast ecosystem of economic dwarfs. These are companies which have been established, but they are not able to go beyond a micro entrepreneur who's able to probably use this as a self-employment. And ladies and gentlemen, my hypothesis is that this is not an accident. This is a result of regulatory cholesterol that ails the country's economy over the last 75 years. And let's double click on this, let's drill down on this to understand the lower level details. Here's my favorite chart. This encapsulates the essence of India's regulatory cholesterol. The country has 1,536 different acts and rules. Subsumed in them are 69,233 unique compliances, and there are about 6,618 filings across the law of the land. These are broadly broken down into 7 categories of law, led by labor. We're all very familiar with labor. Everything from Minimum Wages Act to Payment of Wages Act to Payment of Bonus Act to Equal Remuneration Act to Factories Act to Building and Other Construction Workers Act, all of those are examples of labor laws. They contribute 30% in terms of India's regulatory ecosystem, 47% in terms of compliances, and a whopping 68% in terms of criminality in India's compliance come from the labor laws. EHS, Environment, Health and Safety, deals with air, water, soil pollution, Environment Protection Act of 1986, solid waste management, e-waste management, hazardous waste management, all of those things go there. Finance and tax is a very clear category, direct tax, indirect tax, customs, FEMA, advanced tax, income tax, GST, they all go there. Commercial deals with equipments, hoists, lifts, cranes, pressure vessels, boilers, tools, tackles, gas holders, all the compliances related to them. Many of us don't even realize that when you have a fire extinguisher, there are a bunch of compliances related to it. You have uninterrupted power supply. Do you know that there are compliances related to UPS and so on and so forth? Everything that you have has compliances. Secretarial deals with company law, SEBI, NSE, BSE, all of those fall into secretarial. Industry-specific are sectoral. These are TRAI for telecom, FSSAI for food, RBI for banking, shadow banking, and so on. This is the regulatory ecosystem of the country. So any company, small or big, micro or medium, you're dealing with these 7 categories of the law. 6 categories are applicable to every company. It doesn't matter whether it's an Aditya Birla Capital here or it is a textile company that one of you own. 7th category, which is industry specific, is sectoral in nature. Moving from here, this is the heat map. This has been put together by our company, Team Leads RegTech, over a period of about 10 years. 100+ lawyers have worked on this data. This breaks down the India's regulatory ecosystem by center and states. I don't wish to go through the details of this slide, but one thing I do want to bring to your notice, that the country's 69,233 compliances have 26,134 items with jail term. Many of them can put you to jail for about 10 years. About 35% of these items are trivial contraventions, including some of the examples I have further in the presentation, and I would want to bring it to your notice. The kind of entrenched hostility that there is in the India's regulatory ecosystem. Let's talk MSME further. We heard Pran talk about it, we heard Rakesh talk about it. Here's the compliance view. Look at the table here. There's a table with a row, with a column of small, and there's a column of medium. Small MSME is assumed to have 1 headquarter and 1 plant in a single state operation. A medium company is assumed to have 1 headquarter and 5 plants in 5 different states. Guess what? The number of compliances, unique compliances for a small company is about 783 on an average basis, and total compliances are 2,651. And for a medium company, the compliances are about 3,017 as unique compliances and about 11,800 as total compliances in a given year. The number of licenses and registrations do not include 23 licenses which are required one time. So those are ongoing renewals. But you look at the medium enterprise with about 5 plants, and it falls within the ambit of the 250 crore turnover criteria, you're dealing with close to 12,000 compliances in a year. There are 250 business days in a year, and do the math. You're dealing with about 50 compliances, give or take, on any given day. When we talk about regulatory cholesterol, that's what we really mean. That the number of compliances that a MSME deals with is disproportionate to the size of the business, size of the revenue that they have. Most of these MSMEs are proprietorship companies. Very few of them are private limited companies. They are typically entrepreneur driven. One person runs the show, everything from sales, marketing, technology operations to finance and taxation. And when the number of compliances are these many, there's no way they're able to focus on running their core business. Some of you who may be wondering what are compliances, this is an illustrative list. A variety of licenses, registrations, permissions, consent orders, NOCs, returns, registers, challans, payments, remittances, displays, exemptions, committees. All of these are examples of compliances. By no means is this list a comprehensive one, but just to show what is the diversity of these compliances across 7 categories of the law and 3 levels, which is union, state, and local body levels that an entrepreneur deals with. Here's a book that I wrote 2 years ago titled Jailed for Doing Business. This caught the India's policy framework by a storm, became the basis for Jan Vishwas 1.0. I served on the Jan Vishwas committee, which became the act with the presidential assent on 11th of August last year. There we highlighted that 26,134 compliances in India have jail term. 2 out of 5 compliances have a jail term. 55% of our acts and rules have a jail term. 3 out of 5 compliances prescribe imprisonment more than 1 year. 68% of these clauses are embedded in India's labor compliance. 1/3 out of them are from the Factories Act of 1948. So some of you MSMEs who are running a factory, please realize that a large number of imprisonment clauses in India's employer compliance universe comes from the Factories Act. Those of you who are not familiar with how big the Factories Act rules of Maharashtra is, it is well over 200 pages. 5 states in India contribute to more than 1,000 clauses in their rules. So I'm just showing you, these are the 5 states, and our own state, Maharashtra, is one of them. Some of the examples, some of you who are wondering why there is so much hue and cry about imprisonment. Here are some examples. Whitewashing or color washing the urinals, whitewashing, color washing, lime washing the inner walls of toilet used by contractors, lime washing the inner walls of canteen of the factory's kitchen can put you behind bars for 3 to 5 years. Not keeping the records of medical examination of a cook inside a factory kitchen can put you behind by at least 2 years. Are examples of trivial non-compliances, contraventions which have no bearing on any intentional defrauding of the system that are deeply embedded into the country's ecosystem. And by the way, MSMEs are worst affected by this because large companies have an army of lawyers and compliance professionals, including company secretaries, who are dedicated to this cause. Guess what is happening to MSME? The same person who's the entrepreneur is dealing with everything from sales, marketing, operations, technology, to taxation, and now compliances. Based on our estimate, an entrepreneur in an MSME spends about 40% of their time dealing with compliances. They spend about 1 lakh a month with external consultants, 5 of them, to deal with the cost of compliance. So that's really real numbers. That's not it. The country's regulatory ecosystem changes thousands of times a year. Here's a graph that tells you from 2020 through 2024, how many regulatory changes happen in a year. 2024, mind you, is not even complete yet. Last year in 2023, we had close to 8,000 changes in a year. These changes are not published on one website. They are published on 2,233 unique websites. 437 are union government, 1,240 are state government, and 537 are local body websites that publish these notifications. Try finding one of these regulatory updates and you will know the complexity that I'm talking about. Half these websites don't work. The other half which work don't have the notification. When you load the notification, half the time it expires, the other half of the time it is archived. So there is no single website which is a single source of truth in the country. And it's like flying in a plane at the altitude of 40,000 feet above the mean sea level, and the pilot suddenly announces, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being on board today. I just wanted to let you know that there is a mechanic inside the engine room of our aircraft, and he's tinkering with the engine. We have some minor problem. I don't know about you guys, my blood pressure will go up 100 points. That's the same situation that our MSMEs deal with as far as the regulatory ecosystem and its fluidity is concerned. What are these changes? Changes to existing laws, change of duty structure, change of interest rates, penalty structure, introduction of a new compliance under an existing act, reduction of a compliance under an existing act, introduction of a new rule, change to forms and formats. These are all examples of these changes, thousands of these changes. Our assessment is that a small company with a single plant operation deals with about 600 of these changes in a year in a single state operation. 600 translates into about 3 changes a day on a 250-day basis, give or take. A mid-sized company deals with about 2,000 of these changes across multiple states. Now imagine whether you should focus on your business or you should constantly keep your eyes peeled to understand what is changing and what are the implications of these changes on your business. Let's double click on Maharashtra for a minute. In Maharashtra, we have about 3,657 unique state level compliances, out of which about 1,210 carry clauses of imprisonment. When you look at the details, I don't intend to go through these, but about 25 of these are from the labor, and the rest of the data is right there. The intention is not to go through that. Let's talk about what can be done about this regulatory cholesterol that ails India's economics, particularly the MSMEs. They keep them economic dwarfs. They don't let them flourish. We have come up with a 3-vector framework, and we continue to work with the Government of India, with policymakers, to work on this. Rationalize, digitize, and decriminalize. Rationalize means reduce the compliance burden by reviewing the relevance. Just to give you some examples here, one example particularly, which is favorite. Do you know Factories Act of 1948 requires you to have a spittoon in the factory? Those of you who are not familiar with the word spittoon, it's called thukdan. If you're running a pharma company, ladies and gentlemen, or a biotech company, it's a factory's license. Can you have a thukdan in the company? The answer is no. If you try having that, chances are you lose all your FDA licenses and everything that you have. Guess what? You can never be 100% compliant without not complying with 10% of India's regulations, because there is inherent dichotomy in the way these rules have been written. Many of these are fiefdoms. ये वो सीढ़ियां हैं जो ऊपर तो जाती हैं लेकिन नीचे नहीं आती। एक बार रूल बन जाता है, नया रूल आ जाता है, पुराना जाता नहीं है एक लंबे समय तक। So that's an example of rationalize. Do we need to rationalize some of these regulations? The answer is yes. These were written in the colonial times, many of these. Many of these were written just about independence. Factories Act was written in 1948. The socio-economic political environment of the country was very different from what it is today. India created jobs via public sector enterprises. The private sector contribution was next to nothing. Today, the world has changed. There are 100 unicorns that India has created. None of them came from the public sector. Do we need to change the regulations to facilitate a lot of these? Are we changing it at breakneck speed? The answer is no. So the first area is rationalize. Second is digitize. We heard Rakesh talk about digital payments, changing it, fintechs changing it. Technology is changing everything around us. We as a company are now integrating large language models, AI and LLMs in our way of working inside the regulatory tech. Are we adopting technology fast enough at the policy level? There are few ideas that I'll discuss with you. And the last is decriminalize. While Jan Vishwas 1 decriminalized 42 acts and 183 line items, we still have about 26,100 odd items which still carry imprisonment. While the change is happening, the country is changing, but the speed has to be much faster. Let's look at a couple of ideas and then I close my discussion. First is reduce the compliance burden by reducing redundancy, overlaps, and irrelevant items. Do we know that there are 48 unique labor registers that an MSME has to maintain today? Unique labor registers in a single state operation. 13 out of them are wage register, different formats. 10 out of them are muster rolls, different formats under different acts. 5 out of them are accident registers. Bottom line, we need to change some of this. Why can't we have one register for each one of them? We need to rationalize regulatory changes. In 21st century digital India, we need to publish all of these in one website rather than 2,233 websites. Self-certifications have to happen. Electricity inspector have not changed. Legal metrology inspectors have not changed. But India's aspiration has changed. We need to create private capacity in that space. UEN, we have 23 different identities of an enterprise. You can read some of that. I don't intend to go through that for want of time. We need a single enterprise identity. NBFCs are extending loans because now Aadhaar is linked to mobile, is linked to your credit history and CIBIL. It is very easy now to know the record of the person from the past and predict their behavior in the future. Do we have a compliance history of companies? The answer is no. We don't have a compliance index. Our inspectors fly blind. We have created DigiLocker for humans, for citizens. Why can't we have a DigiLocker for enterprises? All the licenses need to be digitally consigned in one DigiLocker. Here is a framework for how the national compliance grid needs to operate. It's like India Stack, but for enterprises. I don't intend to go through this. Some of you who are interested, I can chat with you offline. With that, I come to the end of my presentation. It's very clear that regulatory cholesterol ails the country, especially MSMEs are the biggest victim of what we go through. And it's very important that if the country's backbone has to become strong, the regulatory cholesterol has to go down without diluting controls. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Rishi. I request you to please be here with us for a moment. Sir, I request you to please join us here on stage for a moment. Thank you so much for joining us here, and I would now request Mr. Pran to come forward and hand over a small token of appreciation from our side to Mr. Rishi for being here with us today. A round of applause for the gentleman present here with us. Moving ahead, goal number 7 of UNDP's Sustainable Development Goals is affordable and clean energy. And this is one of the key SDGs that is driving the Honorable Prime Minister's Viksit Bharat agenda. The next session is all about how you as micro, small and medium enterprises can contribute to this goal. To talk about circular economy in solar energy and role of SMEs, I'm glad to welcome on stage Mr. Jaideep Malviya, Secretary General, Solar Thermal Federation of India. A round of applause for Mr. Jaideep for joining us here today.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Am I audible? Very nice. Thank you very much, the Economic Times, the Times Group, for giving me this opportunity on this platform. It recalls me, when it was my first job. I just did my one job, and then I was an entrepreneur all the time. So just a very on a lighter note, that when I was interviewed, the person who interviewed me, he was the CEO of the company, he asked, I need somebody who's really responsible, right? Who's really responsible. I said, yes, I'm the right man. He said, why? Because, in my past experience shows, wherever I was, whether in my college or whichever place, whenever something went wrong, they said, you are responsible. So you're bang on target. Okay. All right, fine. So my introduction was given more about the sustainability. And today, solar energy is the buzzword, isn't it? How many of you are excited about solar energy today? Just by show of hand. Oh, wonderful. That speaks. And so glad. Can you see something very unique on the board somewhere? Ten years back also, I'm 31 years in this industry today. 31 years. I started when people were telling you're a fool person. But so glad to see this icon. Thanks to ET, really. I mean, it shows the power. India is today third largest solar energy economy. And we are all set to become number 2. So I'm just given very few moments. I had exciting graphics with me, but my apologies because I'm short of time. And this was perhaps a last minute arrangement, but that's fine. So the subject is more about solar energy, circular economy. You understand circular economy? Anybody here would like to know in very layman's term what it would mean like? Okay, so I'll come to that. Anyways, I can understand. Circular, right? Oh yes, wind is not a circular economy. It does circle around, but it's not. So, who taught us this circular economy? Can you recall? Ages back, a revolutionary personality which we all worship. Anybody recalls? Okay, it was our Lord Krishna with the Sudarshan Chakra. So the message came at that time. But before that, let me give you a very brief idea and the status of the solar energy in India. It started with a 20,000 megawatt under the first National Solar Mission in 2010. 20,000 megawatt, which is equivalent to 20 gigawatts. Fantastic start. Everybody had their eyebrows up. ये कैसे होगा? देखो 3 चीज बहुत अच्छी हुई हमारे साथ. Okay, I will tell. I just noted it down, कि शादी के पहले, WhatsApp के पहले हमारी शादी हो गई काफ़ी लोगों की. So that happened good. Okay. हम बड़े हो गए, बाद में ही मैगी आई. So इसी तरह से अभी सोलर एनर्जी जो है, जिस जमाने में हम थे तब सिर्फ बात होती थी, today it has become a reality. Right? From 20 gigawatt, in 2014, it was scaled to 100 gigawatt. 5 times the jump, 100 gigawatt. And 2017, that appeared very small. They scaled up to 500 gigawatt. 500 gigawatt by 2030. Today, they are talking of maybe 1,500 gigawatt. Even 500 gigawatt looks very low. I was just now, a jury member for about 30 German companies I had to evaluate today. I've just come from there and shortlist the 5. And what fantastic work these 5 companies have done. They are close to 80% meeting their energy needs through solar energy today. That speaks the power of sun. Fortunately, as a country, we are blessed with plenty of sunlight. The challenge is how we convert this into useful energy. And we can go complete Atmanirbhar. What's one reason we should use solar energy for? What could be? Any guesses? Okay. Net zero. Heard of this? Now the big question is, yes, everybody likes to be net zero. You all are from the MSME industries. How many of your industries are actually participating net zero? Oh, heard of this? Good. So in short, what it says is, what is the net zero about? These days even your drinks give 0 calories. So our calories have to be 0, the kilocalories or the kilowatt hours. Meaning, go sustainable. No carbon footprint. So 500 gigawatts, let's say, is our target by 2030. Typically, it is the panels, the solar panels. The technical word is module, but the solar panels that we take, a thumb rule is roughly about 65 tons per megawatt, or 65,000 tons per gigawatt into 500. Imagine the amount of the raw materials that would go in. What will happen at the end of life? So I'm talking 10 years ahead now. You may be probably thinking, the speaker is invited to talk about solar energy, but I am talking now 10 years ahead. 2010, we used to more speak about how India can achieve self-sustainability in solar energy. That is past history. We are talking 10 years ahead. So imagine the quantum of raw material waste that would happen, correct? Once they attain the end of the life, the solar panels, they have typically lives of 20 years, 25 years. But it's a big question mark. It's a challenge. They will last that long for 2 reasons. One is quality is an issue for most of the panels that have come in here. All right, I don't want to debate more on that. But most essentially, the rapid evolution of emerging technologies. So every 2 years, higher efficient solar cells are coming up. Now that means in a given area, I can generate more. Why should I use my solar panels for that long if I have recovered my investment? The question is, where do these panels go? And if you have to be really a net zero, now circular economy is being made mandatory everywhere by the Ministry of Environment Forest. You talk of anything, whether they are plastics or rubber, your textiles, so all these. Now, having said that, is it because of the compliance that we have to do the circular economy? Yes, but more so. I gave you a thumb rule, 65 tons per megawatt, or 65,000 tons per gigawatt, 500 gigawatt, what massive raw material resource we can recover. Opportunity for the MSMEs. We have the capability how to recover these. The most attractive part is, the solar cells have silver, do you know? A very minute quantum of silver for conductivity. That's the driver. How much the 500 or the 300 gigawatt if I take, let's say, by 2027, they are assuming, okay? 2027. Or I'll be on a conservative side, say by 2030, 300 gigawatt of solar panels are going in. The silver itself will be little about 10,000 tons that can be recovered. Yes, you heard right. 10,000 tons. The heaviest element is glass, Glass is about 70% by weight. So that will be additional 17 million tons of glass. Why should we mine fresh silica to make glass, destruct the environment, the social causes of the mining workers? Can't we go Atmanirbhar in this? Yes, I can see the time up here. So that is what the circular economy speaks of. And we can use the same material to repower back our solar panels. The 500 gigawatt can become perhaps 700 gigawatt or 800 gigawatt, targeting about at least 90% to be recycled. That's the next sunrise industry. Solar energy is definitely growing, no doubt. Most of your rooftops would be using it. You will use it in future. But think of it what we can do later at the end of the life. And now, by law, it's mandatory. You have to safely dispose. That's the word used, as per the regulatory norms. And safely dispose gives you an opportunity how to recover glass, the aluminium frame, which is about, the aluminium content is 12%. As I said, silver is about 0.05%. Silica, the pure silicon used is about 3.5%. The polymers used are about another 10%. These are broadly that make it up. So every sector will have circular economy, but in your solar energy, here is an opportunity. You can go circular. So circular economy, don't confuse with recycling economy. Recycling means you can repurpose the material for some other. But sometimes it will be landfilled. Sometimes it has to be. Because there's a limitation to upcycle. That's the word used. So if you use a high-grade plastic, you can upgrade into a lower-grade plastic and then upgrade into inferior plastic. Finally, one day it has to be landfilled. And landfilling is a bad economy. It spoils or destructs your environment. A circular economy, on the other hand, states, nothing goes in my landfill. So we keep reusing it. We keep reusing it. Of course, the bosses here will be happy who are there, telling the employees, I am adopting circular economy, I am going back to your old salary. Okay, so let that also not happen. Okay, thank you very much. Since the time is up, I had very limited time, but it's a pleasure having you all.
Thank you so much, sir. I request you to please be here with us for a moment. Sir, I request you to please be here with us for a moment. Thank you so much for joining us here, and I would request Ms. Neha Devan to come forward and hand over a small token of appreciation to Mr. Jaydeep for being here with us today. So our next session is an insightful panel discussion on scaling MSMEs in Pune, unlocking growth through services and manufacturing synergy. So while we set up the stage for our next session, let me share with you something exciting about India's largest SME awards, ET MSME Awards. The awards celebrate excellence in MSMEs and received over 15,000 entries last year. This year, the ET MSME Awards are hosted by Aditya Birla Finance as the presenting partner. Participation is open for micro, small, and medium enterprises across 22 award categories. You can nominate your business by visiting the program website, that is www.etmsmeawards.com. So we would be delighted to have your entries, and the last date is approaching fast. So we request you to kindly enroll yourself for these awards. And now it's time to introduce our panelists for our next session. So the moderator of the session is going to be Ms. Neha Devan. A round of applause for ma'am for joining us here today. Let me invite on stage Mr. Ravindra Sonavne, All India Vice President, Laghu Udyog Bharti. A round of applause for Mr. Ravindra for joining us here. Let's also welcome Mr. Hari P. Srivastav, Founder, Director and Vice Chairman, Deccan Chamber of Commerce. A round of applause for Mr. Hari for joining us here. I would also be inviting on stage Ms. Rutuja Jagtap, Member, EC, MCCIA, ED, SARS Test Plant. A round of applause for Ms. Rutuja Jagtap for joining us here. We would also like to welcome Mr. Ramesh Prasad, Founder and Managing Director, Econovis Packaging. A round of applause for Mr. Ramesh for joining us here. Over to you, Ms. Neha. We have 35 minutes for this panel discussion.
Hello. Hello. I welcome you all to this summit and to the panel members. Our topic is on scaling MSMEs in Pune and unlocking growth through the synergy between manufacturing and services. And as we all know, Pune is called the Detroit of India because of its strong manufacturing hub. So on that note, let me begin from manufacturing itself. And I would like to first ask Rujuta, more about the manufacturing ecosystem. Since you have been a second-generation entrepreneur as executive director of such test plant, what, in your view, needs to be done so that the manufacturing ecosystem in Pune can evolve further?
Hello. Yeah. So a very good evening to all of you, and thank you so much to ET, Neha, Sharik, as well as Arun and the rest of the team for inviting me here. So we belong to the MSME sector, into the niche manufacturing space of capital goods, into manufacturing of test equipments for engine vehicle transmission testing and electric vehicle test systems, about 55 years into the business now. So essentially, as we all know, Pune is known for being the significant automotive hub, engineering hub. Of course, IT and BPO came much later, but essentially, it was the Oxford of the East and the Detroit of the East as well. So we see that there are a lot of areas we already, of course, up on the curve, but there's a lot that can be actually done in different areas. For instance, technological upgradation. That's an area we all see a lot of companies embracing all the new age disruptive technologies like AI, ML, digital twinning, 3D printing, many of them. But still it's in the MSME space. Specifically, I'll be talking about MSMEs because that's the domain that I belong to. In that particular area, we see there's still a lot to be done, and a lot of companies actually need to embark on that particular journey. And of course, that is more relevant to the industries that they belong to, and that is something that we see happening in our own domain as well as other manufacturing domains. I think that's an area that there's a lot that is being done, and I think there's a lot of scope on that front as well. Sustainable practices, as my earlier speaker very correctly pointed out, circular economy. I think reuse, recycle, material circularity. A lot of companies are already working in those spaces, and there is a lot that is being done in that area. A lot of incentives are being given on that front as well. And companies, specifically, the OEMs, are looking forward to vendors who have adopted these practices in their, work culture, in whichever domain they belong to. So they get a preference over the other vendors. So if you're sustainable and already embarking on that journey and doing all of this, you definitely have an edge above the rest. So I think that's an area as well that MSMEs should work more on. Then, of course, skills development. We see that there is a lot of industry, academia collaboration that is being done. Government has focused a lot on skill development, as we know, by incentivizing a lot of companies for having these, programs for internship and the different NAP schemes, NEEM schemes, and many others, where a lot of skills development and focus on that area is being, that impetus is being given by the government, and also financial help is being given to MSMEs on that front. So I think there's a lot, again, happening on that front, and we see a lot of projects and collaborations aiding all of this. We're talking about supply chain resilience. I think in COVID times, it was very evident that we can't be, depending on the global supply chains because of the vulnerability that happened during COVID times. Therefore, actually having, local supply chains, especially, in your own city if possible, and of course, in the country, more than depending on the global supply chains, I think that will be very, very important going forward. And I think that is already people are taking steps in that direction. Also, the policy and infrastructure support, I think there's a lot that is being done and needs to be done also. Of course, we have policies like 45 days payment for MSMEs, but that's implementation is still obviously a challenge, and that's not yet a reality for the MSMEs. But also other policies, for example, different MIDCs and different MIDCs have different tax structures. So therefore, they don't really get a level playing field, or it's not a like-to-like comparison. Therefore, everybody is not getting the same kind of benefits that the others do, depending on the zones they're located in. I think that needs to be universally same. So that policy of the government has to be universal throughout the different MIDCs that exist. I think that is something that we are very keen on. Apart from that, R&D and innovation, of course, focus on R&D and innovation is very, very important, and government is, of course, incentivizing that area as well through giving, DSIR approvals and giving these benefits, due to which actually a lot of companies are getting out products which are globally accepted and at par with all the global standards. I think that is something that is being done, and that's very good, help by the government as well. Finally, collaborating and networking, I think that is very key to all the MSMEs as well as the other industries. We have a lot of different industry associations where you can actually have a lot of, collaborations with different, ecosystem partners as well, which helps in many ways. It helps in collaboration, strategic alliances, joint ventures as well. And apart from that, networking opportunities, which actually help you sort of get a footing into the global market and make inroads into the global market if you're not already there. So I covered a couple of points which there's a lot can be said about it, but I think in a nutshell, this is what I would focus on.
Right, so quite a mix of things, as you said: technology upgradation, skill development, collaborative approach, sustainability. And on that note, I want to bring in Ramesh, who has who is having first-hand work experience related to sustainability and is now an entrepreneur with his own company of green packaging. So Ramesh, I want to ask you, from being a working professional to a startup in sustainable packaging solutions, what are some of the learnings that you have picked up from the manufacturing business in India, specifically in this domain and overall as well?
Yeah, good evening all. Hello. Yeah, good evening all. Thanks, Nia, for having me here. So you're talking about the journey. So journey from working professional to running a manufacturing company, and that too specialization in sustainable packaging. The journey is really full of excitement and a lot of challenges. In fact, in my 2 decades of experience in as a working professional, I worked in a big automobile giants like Mahindra, Tata, Fiat, in a leadership position. And based on the, in fact, I got opportunity to cover all the business processes, right from purchasing, supply chain, R&D, and mergers and acquisitions. So all the business process I have covered, and that's really gives me a very good base to address all the future challenges in terms of manufacturing, whether it is finance, whether it is in technicality, R&D. So we are completely, in fact, I'm completely, having a very good base for taking this to the next level as a manufacturing company. So if I talk about MSME, which is the core subject of this forum, there is a general perception that working capital is the biggest challenges what MSMEs are facing. I have a slightly different view on this. This is a very conventional setup, which in every forum, people talk about working capital and the finance part of it. I see there's a huge lack of innovation, digitization, and sustainability. If I talk about my company, Econovus, this is just a 5-year-old company. So working capital can be taken care by practicing good financial discipline. The second point, there are a lot of government schemes available, which I am also availing. The most important is a flagship program like CGTMSE, which is an amazing program for, it's like a life changing for MSME. And I'm personally using that CGTMSE scheme, and it's helping me for taking this to the company to the next level. So if I talk about sustainability, which is our core of the business, and that's one of the foundation pillar of the company, for the last couple of years, me and my team working a lot in this area. We followed life cycle assessment to start with the cradle to gate, and based on a lot of hard work into this, we focused a lot on sustainable practices as well as the sustainable product. And the result is here. I'm claiming that in India, we are the only MSME who has achieved carbon neutrality. And that's an achievement what we have done as a team. The second point is this innovation. Under innovation, basically, we have developed solutions and systems where we are not only reducing the carbon footprint, but at the same time, we are reducing the cost. Our cost is not something 5%, we are saving up to 30%, and that kind of saving we are giving to the customer. And this is nothing but a total cost of ownership. I'm not talking about the product cost, but total cost of ownership. And that's how we are maintaining and we are basically managing the cost. Second point in sustainability, I would like to highlight here. There is a general perception here that sustainability means it's expensive, or sustainability product means expensive. That myth, this is completely myth, and that's how we have changed the game here in our segment, in our sector. We are giving the kind of saving to the company and saving to the customer. They are very delighted, and that's how in last 5 years, all the big automobile giants are working with us. You name any automobile OEMs, I'm working with them, whether it is JLR, whether it's Tata, Mahindra, Skoda, Volkswagen, Hyundai, Bajaj, all big companies I'm working with. I'm very closely working with all these companies, and the kind of saving in terms of the innovation, in terms of sustainability, in terms of digitization, what we are working is just amazing. And we have reduced, if I give you some numbers, we have reduced eliminated more than 100 containers per annum for the customers for the export packaging, because we are specialized in export packaging, and that's how we are optimizing in terms of using core engineering and sustainability to reduce the carbon footprint and to reduce the cost. How? By optimizing the space in terms of containerization, in terms of boxes. So this is how, and the takeaway, what you said, takeaway and the learnings, I see innovation, sustainability, and digitization. This is a game here, and this is the learning, not only from my previous company, but in my own company. And this is what I recommend all my colleagues as a MSME to follow and practice these 3 important pillars. This will definitely give a good growth, not only for the company, for the entire society. Thank you so much.
That's actually wonderful that you've spoken about this, how it's a myth that sustainability is expensive, and about how you saved on 100 containers annually, right? I was speaking to some MSMEs recently, and a lot of them spoke about the fact that why should they be sustainable, because they are so busy in making their end-to-ends meet that they are not even bothered about, there's no incentive for them really to follow the sustainability cycle. So, but it was heartening to see some MSMEs to take that route, but still, there are a lot of myths that need to be busted for it to really come up among this segment. So once you mentioned this, that immediately, that data point came to mind.
In fact, as you said, we are talking about sustainability doesn't mean it's expensive, certainly not. And why it is so? The reason behind, we need to club innovation into sustainability. If I talk about only sustainability, no customer, no company is going to give any business. If only we talk about sustainability business, means not even a single company will pay you single paisa if you will talk only about sustainability, unless until we give cost reduction. So how cost reduction will come? Cost reduction will only come based on the innovation. In fact, based on the, what I'm coming across, in spite of the lot of challenges in terms of the input cost, in terms of the inflation, in terms of the manpower issues, every customers are asking for the price reduction in spite of all these challenges. Every customers, they're looking for price reduction every single year, 3% reduction I want. How it is possible? Unless until we improve our efficiency, unless until we get into double click the innovation part, it is not possible, simply not possible. And to be in the game, there is no other way but innovation and sustainability.
Right. On that note, I want to bring in Mr. Sunavane into the discussion, and we heard Mr. Prasad talk about innovation, sustainability, digitization. I want to talk a bit about incentives for this sector, for the micro and small enterprises. In manufacturing and services, how important are they for them to scale up, to be on an upward trajectory?
Thanks to ET team. First of all, I read on the backside, Make in India. तो मैंने सोचा मेक इन इंडिया शुड स्टार्ट फ्रॉम मेक इन भारत एंड वन मस्ट स्पीक इन भारतीय भाषा. So I would like to speak in Hindi. नेहा ने अभी जो कहा है कि इंसेंटिव तो मिलता रहता है, लेकिन जैसे बैसाखी होती है उतना उपयोग रहता है. जैसा वो छोटा बच्चा चलता है तो चलने के लिए जितनी आवश्यकता होती है और बाद में किसी आधार को छोड़कर चलता है तो बस उतनी उसको इंसेंटिव करिए, नहीं तो फिर वो आदत बन जाती है और बाद में इकोनॉमी डूबने लगती है. इसलिए इंसेंटिव का फ़ायदा ज़रूर है, लेकिन लिमिटेड पीरियड तक वो देना चाहिए. मेरी आवाज़ भी वैसे बिना माइक भी सुनी जा सकती है. अच्छा हो गया, और थोड़ा कम जोर से बोलना पड़ेगा.
आप इंसेंटिव्स की बात कर रहे थे और ऑडियो ही चला गया.
तो फिर रिपीट करूं? जितनी बच्चे को आवश्यकता होती है चलने के लिए उतना ही इंसेंटिव होना चाहिए, अदरवाइज उसको वो आदत लग जाती है सहारे की, तो वो बिना सहारे चले, सेल्फ सफिशिएंट हो, सेल्फ रिलायंट हो. दैट इज़ द नीड ऑफ एवरी एंटरप्रेन्योर. हम हर बार कोई हमें मदद करे ऐसा देखेंगे तो वी विल नेवर ग्रो. सो आई एम डूइंग माई बिजनेस राइट फ्रॉम 86. अभी कम से कम 38 साल हो गए. मेरे बाल और दाढ़ी भी बताती होगी आपको कि कितने साल से एसएमई में बिजनेस करने के कारण बाल जल्दी सफ़ेद हो जाते हैं. तो चलता रहता है. हमारे ज़माने में तो बिल्कुल इंसेंटिव नहीं था, तब भी हमने बिजनेस शुरू किया एंड वी ऑलमोस्ट क्रॉस माइक्रो टू स्मॉल, स्मॉल टू मीडियम. तो होता रहता है, प्रॉब्लम्स आते रहते हैं, चैलेंजेस आना ही चाहिए. जैसे स्वामी विवेकानंद जी ने कहा है कि इफ़ व्हेन यू आर ट्रैवलिंग ऑन द रोड और पाथ there are no obstacles or problems, then you are on wrong way. तो आप समझ लीजिए, मैं उद्यमियों को बार बार कहता हूँ कि समस्या आती रहेंगी, और हमारे जैसे फेडरल डेमोक्रेसी वाले देश में तो इतनी सारी एजेंसियाँ, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, कॉरपोरेशंस यानी महानगर पालिका, फिर ग्राम पंचायत. मेरी एक फैक्ट्री जो है वो ग्राम पंचायत में है, उसको रूल अलग. MIDC में एक फैक्ट्री, उसके रूल अलग. तो अलग अलग रूल है, तो हमारा लर्निंग भी हो जाता है, हमें समझ में भी आ जाता है क्या करना है. तो प्रॉब्लम आते रहेंगे, इंसेंटिव्स की ज़रूरत भी है, गवर्नमेंट कर भी रही है। और मुझे अभी याद है कि 94 से लघु उद्योग भारती की जब से हमने शुरुआत की, इट इज़ द ओनली पैन इंडिया ऑर्गेनाइजेशन वर्किंग इन द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ MSMEs, इट्स NGO। एंड तब से हमने पूरा 94 से प्रयास करने के बाद कोलैटरल फ्री लोन मिलना चाहिए, इसकी मांग की। 94 से लेके 2000 पहले हमने कहा तो मंत्रालय बनना चाहिए, इसके लिए कोई नहीं है। फीकी और CII लॉबिंग अच्छे करते हैं तो सेंट्रल मिनिस्टर से बात करके उनके काम हो जाते हैं, लेकिन MSME के लिए देखने वाला कोई नहीं है। तो इसके लिए कोई एक सेंटर में मिनिस्ट्री होनी चाहिए। तो हमारी मांग से 2002 में पहली बार भारत में लघु उद्योग मंत्रालय बना, जिसकी मंत्री थी वसुंधरा राजे सिंधिया। उसके बाद दूसरी मांग हमने रखी, विदाउट कोलैटरल मिलना चाहिए, वाजपेयी जी ने वो भी एक्सेप्ट कर लिया। और CGTMS स्कीम पहली बार बनी, उस वक्त 25 लाख की लिमिट थी। बाद में मनमोहन सिंह आए, 50 लाख हुई। मोदी जी आए 2014 में 1 करोड़ हुई। 2017 में उन्होंने 2 करोड़ किया। अभी रिसेंटली 1 साल पहले उन्होंने 5 करोड़ कर दिया है। तो ये जो मांग है, ये मांग उठाने वाली एकमेव संस्था, और मैं उसका आई एम अ विटनेस ऑफ इट। लास्ट 30 years आई एम वर्किंग फॉर लघु उद्योग भारती, एंड माई यंगर ब्रदर इज लुकिंग आफ्टर माई फैक्ट्रीज। So I am proud of that. I am doing something for the betterment of the MSMEs. So these are the issues, but MSMEs has to unite. MSME has to aware about the government schemes and aware about the laws. हमें रोना नहीं चाहिए, हम क्या लॉयर है क्या, हम क्या लेबर कंसल्टेंट है क्या, हम क्या एनवायरनमेंट के एक्सपर्ट है क्या, नहीं, यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड। बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं है, समझ लेना चाहिए। और आजकल तो इट इज़ अवेलेबल ऑन द फिंगरप्रिंट, जब यू पुश द बटन एवरीथिंग इज अवेलेबल ऑन द वेबसाइट, हम समझ सकते हैं, ले सकते हैं। हाँ, उसमें जो इंटरवेंशन करना है, पॉलिसी एडवोकेसी करना है, लघु उद्योग भारती निरंतर करती है। और केंद्र सरकार के 28 लगभग जो डिपार्टमेंट्स है उन पर लघु उद्योग भारती रिप्रेजेंट करती है। MSME मिनिस्ट्री में जो डायरेक्टर्स है उसमें 13 ऑल इंडिया लेवल से हमारे डायरेक्टर्स वहाँ बैठे हुए हैं। और महाराष्ट्र से 3 हैं कि जो MSME के लिए एडवोकेसी करती है भिन्न भिन्न डिपार्टमेंट से, चाहे वो ट्रेड मिनिस्ट्री हो, कॉमर्स एंड ट्रेड मिनिस्ट्री, एनवायरनमेंट मिनिस्ट्री, लेबर मिनिस्ट्री। तो जो जो इंडस्ट्री के रिलेटेड विषय रहते हैं उसके बारे में एडवोकेसी करते रहते हैं और प्रॉब्लम को रिजॉल्व करने की MSME के लिए कोशिश कर रहे हैं हम लोग।
आत्मनिर्भर MSMEs एंड जो माइंडसेट है इन एंटरप्राइजेस का, आप कह रहे हैं उसमें भी एक चेंज आना चाहिए।
This is all related with the mindset of the entrepreneur. Unless and until we change our mindset, जैसे मैंने कहा है कि हम हर बार कोई मुझे मदद करे तो नहीं हो सकता है। और जो जितना, जैसे मैंने पहले कहा था कि हम लोग किसी की सहायता की अपेक्षा करें तो गलत है। जो बच्चे लोग हैं उनको सहायता करो, जो बूढ़े उनको सहायता करो, लेकिन जो यंग है दे शुड स्टार्ट देयर ओन। उन्होंने अपना जो युवा अवस्था है उसको प्रकट करना है, अपना जो सामर्थ्य है, क्योंकि दिस इज द ओनली एज वी कैन प्रूव आवर मेटल। तो इसलिए माइंडसेट चेंज करना ये बहुत बड़ी बात मुझे लगती है कि हमारे माइक्रो और स्मॉल की जो मानसिकता है वो छोटा सोचता है और जो मुसीबत यहाँ से उसके बाद रोता रहता है। मैंने बोला अरे रो मत, प्रॉब्लम तो आती रहेगी, ओवरकम इट। यू कैन विथ योर स्ट्रांग माइंडसेट हम इस पे लांग सकते, उसके आगे जा सकते, ये बिल्कुल पक्का है। मेरा स्वयं का अनुभव ऐसा है कि प्रॉब्लम आते रहते हैं लेकिन प्रॉब्लम निकल भी जाते हैं यदि हम प्रॉब्लम को छोड़कर ग्रोथ की ओर फोकस करें। अनलेस एंड अनटिल वी फोकस ऑन ग्रोथ एंड वी हैव टू एंटिसिपेट द कमिंग चैलेंजेस, टेक्नोलॉजी चैलेंजेस, जैसे AI आने वाला है। आई एम सप्लाइंग टू ऑटोमोटिव इंडस्ट्री राइट फ्रॉम टाटा मोटर्स, बॉश जर्मनी, कैटरपिलर UK। तो मुझे मालूम है कि क्या क्या होता है, कैसे होना चाहिए। हमारे पास वेल्डर नहीं मिलते, हमने रोबो लगा दिया है वेल्डर के लिए। दिस आर प्रॉब्लम आर देयर। क्योंकि क्या हो जाता है कि पुणे लोग कहते हैं कि बहुत पॉपुलस सिटी है, बहुत इंटेलेक्चुअल सिटी है, इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेजेस इतने, हम लोगों को इंजीनियर्स मिलते नहीं हैं। एवरी इंजीनियर वांट टू गो टू वाइट कॉलर जॉब, सॉफ्टवेयर में जाना चाहता है, पैसे है तो लोन निकाल के माता पिता ऑस्ट्रेलिया, अमेरिका, कनाडा भेज देते। तो ये मुसीबत है, स्टाफ अच्छा मिलता नहीं क्योंकि स्टेटस नहीं उसको माइक्रो और स्मॉल में नौकरी करता है, वो कई बड़ी कंपनी में काम करता है तो स्टेटस मिलता है, छोटे कंपनी में काम करता है तो शादी होने में भी प्रॉब्लम आ जाती है, जो उद्यमी है उसकी भी शादी जल्दी नहीं होती। ये सारी समस्या है। जैसे किसानों को मैं कहता हूँ बड़ी मजाक से कि किसानों को लड़की नहीं मिलती, जो भिक्षुकी करता है यानी जो उपाध्याय जिसको कहते हैं, भटजी भी कहते हैं हम लोग, उसको भी लड़की नहीं मिलती। तो ये जो पहले देखते हैं माँ बाप, मैंने बहुत बड़ी गंभीर समस्या ये है समाज के सामने कि पहले पूछते हैं कि लड़का नौकरी करता है क्या, उसका पैकेज क्या है, माँ बाप के साथ रहता है क्या। अरे क्या प्रॉब्लम है यार। तो ये चेंज ऑफ माइंडसेट इज रिक्वायर्ड फॉर दैट। और मुझे पूरा भरोसा है कि केंद्र सरकार लगातार, मैंने देखा है कि 2000 जैसे वाजपेयी जी की सरकार आई उस वक्त से लेके अभी डिलेड पेमेंट का इशू बहुत गंभीर था। 94 से हम इसके पीछे, मेरा तो ऑटोमोटिव कंपनी को सप्लाई होने के कारण 30 डेज में पैसा आ जाता था, लेकिन जो बड़े प्रोजेक्ट कंपनियों को सप्लाई करने वाले थे, या थर्मैक्स का कोई बैठा नहीं होगा शायद इसलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ नाम लेके, 6-6 महीना पैसा नहीं देती थी थर्मैक्स के लोग। ऑयल इंजन का कोई बैठा नहीं, मैं बोल देता हूँ। मेरे पास आए थे, मैंने पहला CNC मशीन लिया था स्मॉल स्केल में 1990 में 15 लाख रुपए कर्जा लेके। तो मेरे पास आए कि सर ये एक्सपोर्ट ऑर्डर है, आप इसका मशीनिंग करके दो। मैंने बोला यू आर बैड पे मास्टर, मैं कैसे आपका काम करूँगा। नहीं नहीं, मुझे तो काम बहुत है टाटा का और बॉश का, मैं नहीं काम कर सकता। नहीं नहीं, बोले बहुत अर्जेंट है आप करो। तो उनके जो वाइस चेयरमैन थे सवार करके, उन्होंने मुझे बताया ये करो वो करो। मैंने बोला पहले पोस्ट डेटेड चेक रखो, 30 दिन का डेट डाल के तब मैं सप्लाई करूँगा। तो ये प्रॉब्लम रह लेते, तब से हमने चालू किया। तो 43BH 2006 एक्ट जो है, वाजपेयी हैज़ प्रिंसिपली अप्रूव्ड इट। उनका गवर्नमेंट जाने के बाद वी फॉलोड विद गवर्नमेंट ऑफ मनमोहन सिंह। उनको बताया, 2-4 बार मिले हम लोग, उनको कहा डॉक्टर साहब ये करो, कम से कम डिलेड पेमेंट इज द बिग प्रॉब्लम ऑफ MSMEs। NP हो जाता है, MSME मर जाती है, पहले आप ये कर लो। तो एक बार बताया उनको, तीसरी बार की अटल जी ने इसको प्रिंसिपली अप्रूव किया है, आप कम से कम तो करो। अटल जी ने किया था क्या, मैं भी साइन करता हूँ। अक्टूबर में 2006 में 2006 एक्ट जो MSME डी एक्ट बना है 15, ये लघु उद्योग भारती की प्रयास, यानी क्या कर सकते हैं MSME ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूँ। लघु उद्योग भारती का बड़प्पन नहीं बता रहा हूँ कि एक ऑल इंडिया लेवल की ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो होती है किस प्रकार यदि लॉबिंग करती है, और विषय हम पर्सनल लेके जाते नहीं हैं, हम MSME कम्युनिटी के विषय लेके जाते हैं उनके सामने। और नॉट ओनली प्रॉब्लम के साथ सोल्यूशन, प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट विद सोल्यूशन वह जाते हैं, क्योंकि हमने सोल्यूशन उन पर छोड़ दिया ना तो पहले से बदतर सोल्यूशन निकलता है। इसलिए ये जो प्रोसेस है, ये प्रॉब्लम रहेंगे, एडिशनल प्रॉब्लम आ जाएंगे। हमको इस पर ध्यान रखते हुए, MSME इज़ द बैकबोन हम कहते हैं, लेकिन वो इतना झुक गया है बेचारा बोझ के मारे। अभी ऋषि ने बहुत अच्छा प्रेजेंटेशन किया है, गुड डेटा विथ हिम, बहुत बढ़िया प्रेजेंटेशन है कि कैसे कानून है। 302, मेरे नागपुर के हमारे एक कार्यकर्ता है, उसके फैक्ट्री में 2 साल पहले आग लग गई थी, 13 लोग जल गए थे, 302 के अंदर उसको अंदर कर दिया था, यानी मनुष्यवध। अरे गलती उसकी नहीं थी, वो फैक्ट्री भी नहीं था, ऑल रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस एंड सेफ्टी मेजर्स वेर इन प्लेस, सर्टिफिकेट्स थे पूरे, लेकिन किसी वजह से एक्सीडेंट इज एक्सीडेंट, वो पर्पसली थोड़ी होता है। तो इसके पीछे लगे कि 302 निकाल दो, उसको मनुष्यवध के नीचे मत लाओ। तो वो भी अभी चल रहा, धीरे धीरे वो ब्रिटिश के कानून जा रहे। माथाड़ी कामगार, ये तो बहुत बड़ी समस्या है पुणे की। अब यदि चाकण या नगर रोड के कोई हो गए उद्यमी, अरे ये माथाड़ी कानून जो है ना, ये ब्रिटिशों के ज़माने का है, वो चले गए, कानून हमारे माथे पे छोड़ गए, पीछे लग रहे हैं। लेकिन हमने देखा सब पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के कार्यकर्ता ही काम करते हैं, कोई भी पार्टी उसके लिए अपवाद नहीं है। मैंने देखा कार्ड पे क्या रहता है, घड़ियाल वाली की सरकार आ गई, घड़ी का चिन्ह आ जाता है, कमल वाले आ गए, कमल का चिन्ह आ जाता है, लोग वही रहते हैं, सिर्फ उनके चिन्ह बदल जाते हैं। तो ये सिस्टम बदलने के लिए जो पॉलिटिकल विल पावर चाहिए और MSME को ऑर्गेनाइज होकर एक प्रेशर ग्रुप के नाते काम करना चाहिए, वो आवश्यक है। नहीं तो माथाड़ी की समस्या बहुत गंभीर है, वो भी एक बहुत बड़ी समस्या है, ऐसा मुझे लगता है।
Right. अभी बात सुनी और MSMEs जो यहाँ पे हैं, I think they will be able to relate to this more in terms of change of mindset and the overhaul in the system which is needed. Sorry, मैं इंग्लिश में मैंने बात की, but I thought I could communicate it better like that.
देखो पूरे विश्व ने बताया है कि बच्चा सबसे अच्छी सोच उसकी मातृभाषा में कर सकता है, इसलिए मदर टंग बोला है, जो माँ के पेट से भी वो सीख लेता है। उसको कोई ग्रामर सीखने की आवश्यकता नहीं होती है, वो बोलने शुरू कर देता है। तो वी शुड नॉट बी शेम टॉकिंग इन आवर भारतीय लैंग्वेज। मैं विदेश में जाता था 2004-5 में, यूरोप में कोई अंग्रेजी बोलने वाला नहीं था, इंग्लैंड छोड़ के। न जर्मनी में कोई बोलता था, मुश्किल से मिलते थे, फ्रांस में कोई बोलते नहीं थे, जापान में तो छोड़ दो अंग्रेजी की बात। तो ये सब भारत में गुलामी के कारण है, बाकी कुछ नहीं है। जिस दिन हम अंग्रेजी को छोड़ देंगे ना, सबसे ज़्यादा रिसर्च, मैं बोलता हूँ दावे के साथ, सबसे ज़्यादा रिसर्च हिंदुस्तान में होगा। मैं बहुत पूरे देश में घूमता रहता हूँ, मैंने देखा है कि इतने इनोवेटिव है हमारे लोग। कम पैसे में इनोवेशन कैसे करना है हमारे लोगों से सीखना, चाहे वो किसान हो, चाहे वो कामगार हो, चाहे वो घर की गृहिणी हो, बहुत अच्छी तरह से कैसे मैनेज करना। जुगाड़ नाम का किताब आप पढ़ लो कभी। हाँ, जुगाड़, वो जुगाड़ यानी बहुत गलत हो गया है, लेकिन वो एक्चुअली इनोवेशन है। उसमें जो प्रजापति का दिया है ना, मैं सबको बोलता हूँ वो फ्रिज फेंक दो यार। जो क्लोरोफ्लो कार्बन है ना, वो सबसे डेंजरस है। और वो अनाज हम खाते हैं, वो जो मिट्टी कूलर जो है ना, उसका घर में रख लो, आपकी तबीयत भी ठीक रहेगी, पैसा भी बहुत बच जाएगा और लंबी आयु भी मिल जाएगी। लेकिन हम छोड़ दिया सब, हम कॉपी करते हैं बस, बाकी कुछ नहीं करते।
Right, at this point I want to bring in Mr. Srivastav. And I would like to ask, what about industry associations? Of course, MSMEs को आत्मनिर्भर होना चाहिए, लेकिन इंडस्ट्री एसोसिएशंस जैसे कि DCCIA हैं, वो क्या कर रहे हैं टू टेक दिस स्टोरी फॉरवर्ड?
देखिए क्या है कि अब सोनामणि जी ने ऐसा हिंदी में कर दिया है कि मुझे लग रहा है कि अगर मैं अंग्रेजी में बोल दिया तो मैं एंटी नेशनल काउंट
नहीं, हम किसी को एंटी नेशनल नहीं कह सकते। बी प्राउड ऑफ आवर मदर टंग एंड आवर नेशनल लैंग्वेज।
मैं जरा अंग्रेजी को उपयोग करने के लिए जरा बचूंगा, और एटलीस्ट बिल्कुल बगल में बैठे हुए मेरे। तो दूसरी बात यह है कि आखिरी वक्ता होने का देखिए दो नुकसान होते हैं। एक तो ये कि तब तक आपके जितने भी जिन्होंने पहले बोल दिया है वो इतना कवर कर चुके होते हैं कि आपके लिए कुछ छोड़ते नहीं। और दूसरा ये होता है कि ऑडियंस भी अपने एज के ऊपर बैठी हुई कि ये खत्म कब होगा। सो आई विल नॉट टेक मच ऑफ द टाइम। मेरा सिर्फ यही कहना है कि एज ए चैम्बर बहुत कुछ काम हम वैसे ही करते हैं। लघु उद्योग भारती राष्ट्रीय लेवल पे कर रहे हैं, हम इस काम को अपने रीजनल लेवल पे कर रहे हैं। हमारा भी बहुत सारा काम इनसे मिलता जुलता ही है, और हमारा भी यही प्रयास रहता है। सबसे पहला यही कि जो भी मेंबर इंडस्ट्रीज़ हैं उनकी जो प्रॉब्लम्स हो, उसमें MSME भी शामिल हैं, उनकी प्रॉब्लम्स को हम पॉलिसी लेवल में कहाँ तक उसमें योगदान दे सकते हैं ताकि जो वो एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं वो पॉलिसी में लाई जा सके। दूसरी ये कि किसी मेंबर इंडस्ट्रीज़ को किसी चीज़ से अगर तकलीफ़ है, कहीं GST में कोई तकलीफ़ है या अदर किसी एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन से या अदर किसी एजेंसी से अगर कोई तकलीफ़ है, तो उस तकलीफ़ को हम कैसे दूर कर सकें, उसके लिए भी उस पर्टिकुलर एजेंसी के साथ हम टेकअप करते हैं। जैसे यहाँ कस्टम हो गए, GST हो गए, लेबर लॉज के फैक्ट्री इंस्पेक्टरेट हो गए, जहाँ भी जिसकी कोई तकलीफ़ हो उस तरीके से अगर जब भी नॉलेज में लाया जाता है तो उसको दूर कैसे किया जाए, वो हमारा एक प्रयत्न रहता है। दूसरा ये है कि हम ये कहते हैं कि भाई हमारे जो चैम्बर के मेंबर हैं, आपके सिर्फ 2 मिनट 22 सेकंड है, अब ओके मैं पूछ रहा हूँ भाई। ओके, तो हमारा ये रहता है कि भाई हमारे चैम्बर के जो मेंबर्स हैं, एक आखिर में है मल्टीनेशनल कंपनियां हैं, बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियां हैं, और दूसरे एंड पे माइक्रो कंपनियां। तो इन कंपनियों को कैसे एक साथ एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे लाया जाए ताकि उनमें इंटरैक्शन प्रमोट किया जाए, उसके लिए हम डिफरेंट टाइप के इवेंट्स करते हैं ताकि उनमें वो इंटरैक्शन प्रमोट किया जा सके। और जो कमेटियां हैं हमारे यहाँ, वो कमेटियों में भी हमारे इंडस्ट्री के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव हमारे मेंबर्स के होते हैं, और जस्ट किसी मेंबर को अगर किसी तरह की कोई तकलीफ हो, जैसे एचआर कमेटी है तो उसमें एचआर एक्सपर्ट्स हैं बड़ी कंपनियों के, मीडियम कंपनियों के, सेफ्टी हेल्थ एनवायरनमेंट है वहाँ सेफ्टी और इस प्रोफेशनल्स के लोग हैं, इसी तरीके से फाइनेंस की हैं, तो डिफरेंट कमेटी में उस तरह के एक्सपर्ट्स लोग हैं। तो अगर किसी को किसी तरह का कोई क्लैरिफिकेशन चाहिए, किसी तरह की किसी की कोई मदद चाहिए, उस पर्टिकुलर कमेटी से अप्रोच करके या उस पर टेकअप करके उस लेवल पे मिल जाती है। अगर वहाँ पे सॉर्ट आउट नहीं होती और इसको कहीं ऊपर लेवल पे ले जाना है तो उसको फिर हम पर्टिकुलर फोरम पे ले जाते हैं। लेकिन हमारा ये रहता है कि सब एक दूसरे से इंटरएक्शन हो, और मेरा ये हरदम कहना है कि होल्ड ईच अदर्स हैंड टू ग्रो टुगेदर, दैट इज द डिक्टम विच आई फॉलो एंड विच आई ऑलवेज से, कि एक दूसरे का हाथ पकड़ो तभी एक दूसरे के साथ ग्रो हो सकते हैं, क्योंकि जब आप दूसरे का हाथ पकड़ते हैं तो वो भी आपका हाथ पकड़ता है, चाहे वो जितना छोटा क्यों ना हो, वो भी आपको हाथ पकड़ता है और किसी तरीके से आपको सहयोग दे सकता है। तीसरा यह है कि बहुत सारी इंडस्ट्रियों के क्लाइंट कस्टमर भी आपस में मिल जाते हैं। हम एक प्रोडक्ट बना रहे हैं, हमारा कस्टमर भी यहाँ मिल सकता है, तो वो भी आपस में नेटवर्किंग के थ्रू मिल सकता है। वो ये सारी चीज़ें, मेन ये है किसी तरह का विषय हो, अगर कोई इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर रिलेटेड भी इशू का हो, आपके रोड्स के इशू हो, सेफ्टी के इशू हो, वो सारे इशू भी हम चैम्बर के थ्रू डील करते हैं। जैसे यहाँ ट्रैफिक का इशू था तो ट्रैफिक वार्डन लगाने का, आगे सिग्नल नहीं लग सकते थे तो सिग्नल लगाने के लिए हम कंट्रीब्यूट करके, अगर गवर्नमेंट नहीं लगा सकती हम सिग्नल लगा के देते। इस तरह की चीज़ें हम ज़रूर करते हैं। और ये कि जितने भी लोग हैं उनका रिकग्निशन, हमारे यहाँ एचआर कंपटीशन होता है तो कौन सी कंपनी बेस्ट एचआर प्रैक्टिसेस फॉलो कर रही है उनको अवार्ड करना, रिकॉग्नाइज करना, सेफ्टी प्रैक्टिसेस में भी इसी तरह का, ये ऑल सारी जितनी भी चीज़ें हैं वो मेन इंटरेक्शन ये रहता है कि हमारे जो मेंबर हों वो एक दूसरे से इंटरैक्ट कर सके और जो अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं उनको रिकॉग्नाइज किया जा सके और वो एक दूसरे से जान पाए, एक दूसरे के साथ शेयर कर सके। होल्ड ईच अदर्स हैंड टू ग्रो टुगेदर, दैट इज द लाइन।
So collaborative approach and just going together to, handhold each other, and the mentorship. You provide the mentorship, the necessary mentorship that is
मेंटरशिप की जब आप बात करेंगी नेहा, तो मेरा ये पहला क्वेश्चन है कि आप अगर देखें तो महाराष्ट्र में आपके करीबन 48.5 लाख MSME होंगे और उस 48.5 लाख MSME में से करीबन 47,30,000 या करीबन माइक्रो है। और ओके, पूना में अगर आप देखने चलोगे जो करीबन 7.5 लाख हैं उसमें से 7,23,000 माइक्रो है। तो जब आप मेंटरशिप की बात करते हैं तो मेंटरशिप में आपको देखना है कि आप किस तरह की इंडस्ट्री के साथ आप मेंटरशिप की बातें कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि जो एक माइक्रो वाला है, दूसरा अगर आप देखें ये स्मॉल स्केल है और तीसरा है आपकी मीडियम स्केल, इनकी रिक्वायरमेंट अलग अलग है। अगर आप माइक्रो की बात करेंगे, वो एक जैसा बताया सोनावने साहब ने कि भाई उसको मालूम है कि ये इस तरीके से करके ये प्रोडक्ट बन सकता है, बाकी उसको एनवायरनमेंट नहीं मालूम है कि हम इसके लिए पैसे कहाँ से लाएं, मार्केट कहाँ से तलाशें, अच्छी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग प्रैक्टिसेस कहाँ से करें, जो है आदमी कहाँ से रिक्रूट करें। तो ये सारी चीज़ें उनकी रिक्वायरमेंट अलग है। स्मॉल स्केल वाले थोड़े एक लेवल तक आ गए होते हैं, वो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कर रहे हैं, उनका कहीं से फाइनेंस भी हुआ है, तो उनको ऑपरेशनल एक्सीलेंस किस तरह से दिया जा सके, काइजन TPM किस तरह से उनको दिया जा सके, बाकी जो साहब ने बताया कि भाई इनोवेशन, डिजिटाइजेशन, वो सारी चीज़ें कैसे लाई जा सके, वो आपकी मीडियम, आपकी स्मॉल स्केल के लिए। मीडियम आपके बहुत थोड़े हैं। आप अगर देखो यहाँ पे पूना में करीबन 17,000 होंगे और मे भी स्टेट लेवल पे करीबन 1 लाख होंगे, तो वो एक लेवल पे पहुँच गए हैं, वो एक लेवल पे हैं, उनकी रिक्वायरमेंट अलग है। तो एज ए चैम्बर अगर आप करने के लिए देखो, मैंने देखे बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम किए, लोग नहीं आते हैं और फ़ोन करके पूछते भाई आप आए क्यों नहीं, बोले सरसो साहब इतना प्रॉब्लम है यहाँ पे, मैं धंधा संभालूँ कि आपकी ट्रेनिंग अटेंड करूँ। आई एम टेलिंग यू द फैक्ट, ओके। और बाकी चीज़ें इसके विषय आते रहते हैं। अभी लघु उद्योग भारती ने इतना उद्यम करके, हमारे सोनावने साहब ने अभी हाईलाइट किया कि पेमेंट 45 दिन में किया जा सके, उसके लिए हमने एक्ट चेंज करवा दिया, ओके। अब उसका काउंटर प्रोडक्शन क्या है? बहुत सारे हमारे पास एमएसएमई अप्रोच कर रहे हैं कि साहब हमारा धंधा चले जा रहा है, बड़ी इंडस्ट्रियों ने हमको बंद कर दिया है हमको धंधा देने के लिए, क्योंकि 45 दिन में पेमेंट देना है। और बहुत सारे बोलते हैं कि सर अगर हम 6 महीने का क्रेडिट दे रहे हैं तो गवर्नमेंट को क्या प्रॉब्लम है, हम 6 महीने का क्रेडिट दे रहे हैं तो गवर्नमेंट ने मानना चाहिए। तो ये सारे काउंटर प्रोडक्शन है उसकी, जो काउंट हाउ अ गुड वेल इंटेंशन थिंग कैन बी काउंटर प्रोडक्टिव। जब ये ग्राउंड लेवल पे आती है, ये सारी चीजें हैं जो लाई जा रही हैं कि साहब हमको तकलीफ है।
थोड़ा बोलूँगा इस विषय पे। क्या है, जब कोई भी चेंज होता है, चेंज इज़ इनएविटेबल, परिवर्तन होने वाला ही है, वो आप और मैं कोई रोकने वाला नहीं है। जब परिवर्तन होता है, जब रेल की पटरी बदल जाती है तो खड़खड़ाहट तो होने वाली है। इनिशियली ये प्रॉब्लम आएगा। मुझे तो इतने लोगों ने घेर के, जैसे वो बात, ऐसा दरवाज़ा बंद करके मैंने बहुत सारी मीटिंग अटेंड की है, दरवाज़ा बंद है तो भी मैं धैर्य के साथ कहता था ये लघु उद्योग भारती ने किया है, और इन द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ एमएसएमई डोंट वरी, थोड़े दिन तक आपको प्रॉब्लम होगी। मैं आपको एक बात बताना चाहता हूँ। अभी आपने कहा कि एमएसएमई से माल खरीदना बंद कर दिया है, वो कब तक बंद करेंगे? नहीं, वो बंद कर नहीं सकते। माइक्रो और स्मॉल कॉस्ट, क्वालिटी एंड डिलीवरी ऑन टाइम जो देता है ना, नहीं तो जर्मनी की बॉश मुझे काम नहीं देती, यूके की कैटरपिलर मुझे काम नहीं देती, टाटा मोटर्स मुझे काम नहीं देती। स्टिल आई एम कॉम्पिटिटिव, स्टिल आई एम क्वालिटेटिव, स्टिल आई एम डिलीवरिंग ऑन टाइम, दिस इज माई स्ट्रेंथ। तो इस स्ट्रेंथ को यूज करो, आपको छोड़ेंगे नहीं। तो ये डर छोड़ दो मन से कि इसके कारण कुछ नाटक करेंगे। जिनको डर है, देखो जो डरते हैं, परमात्मा भगवान श्री कृष्ण ने भगवत गीता में बताया है कि मुझे कौन कौन आकर मिलते हैं, जो भय से मुक्त है। चलो भगवान से नहीं मिलना है हमको, छोड़ दो, लेकिन धंधा तो करना है तो डरो मत यार। एक बार आ गए ना धंधे में तो छोड़ दो डरना है, नहीं तो हर बार आपको एक्सप्लॉइट करने वाले लोग मिलेंगे। इतना रेट दिया, वो परचेस वाले बैठते हैं, आपको अनुभव होगा, अरे उसने तो ये रेट दिया है, उसने तो ये रेट दिया, तुम्हारा ज़्यादा कैसे। तो जो फेयर पॉलिसी है, जो आपको वायबल है, वही एक्सेप्ट करो। लोग आपके पीछे आएंगे, चिंता मत करो। जो लघु उद्यमी है उसको कोई भी कॉम्पीट नहीं कर सकता, बड़ी कंपनियां उनको सप्लाई करने वाली नहीं है।
I think this is a perfect note to conclude the session on a very positive and heartening note for MSMEs to think and mull over. Yeah, we are almost out of time. Yeah, just very quickly. Yes, very quickly.
दो इशू है इसमें दो प्रॉब्लम मैं हाईलाइट करना चाहता हूँ। वन इज़ जो आप बोल रहे हैं एमएसएमई में 45 डेज़ का, कुछ लोगों ने इसमें भी इनोवेशन ढूंढ लिया है। कुछ कस्टमर्स बोलते हैं कि हमको डिलीवरी चलान में दे दो, इनवॉइसिंग मत करो। सो दिस आर द टिपिकल इनोवेशन कस्टमर हैज डन।
ये होता रहेगा।
सेकंड पॉइंट मैं और एक चीज़ बोलना चाहता हूँ। गवर्नमेंट ने तो बना दिया समाधान, जो भी डिलेड पेमेंट का जो सिस्टम्स है, आप उसमें चले जाओ। मेरा 3 केस पेंडिंग है, तारीख पे तारीख 5 साल से हो रहा है, तारीख पे तारीख ही हो रहा है अभी तक। जितना पेमेंट डिले नहीं है उतना तो मैंने एक्सपेंस कर दिया हूँ, आना जाना अपना, एम्प्लॉयज़ का, अपना अकाउंटिंग का। इस 2 पॉइंट में इसके लिए मैं हाईलाइट करना चाहता था, जस्ट टू ऐड कि ये भी
दो चीज़ें जस्ट एक सेकंड लूँगा। देखिए 2 इशू हैं आपके। एक तो ये है कि आपको जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट इंडस्ट्री सेंटर पे जो आपका एक इशू वहाँ टेकअप किया जाता है। एक इनकम टैक्स एक्ट में बदलाव हो गया कि अगर आप 45 दिन के अंदर पेमेंट नहीं करेंगे तो वो एक्सपेंस आपका उस साल में काउंट नहीं किया।
एग्जैक्टली।
तो ये इनका जो कहना है वो इनकम टैक्स एक्ट के बदलाव के उसमें किया गया। लेकिन उसमें बहुत सारे लोग कहते हैं कि साहब अगर मैं 3 महीने का क्रेडिट दे रहा हूँ तो आप एक्ट में क्यों 45 दिन के ऊपर फोर्स कर रहे हो? इट इज बिटवीन द बायर एंड द सेलर। अगर
डोंट रजिस्टर अंडर उद्यम रजिस्ट्रेशन इज मस्ट। उद्यम नंबर यू हैव टू मेंशन और इनवाइस ऑन योर कोटेशन।
बट गलती से भी आप ऑब्जेक्ट करेंगे तो आपका बिजनेस तो चले जाएगा, वो भी डर है।
वही मैंने कहा तो बिजनेस जाने का डर। और दूसरा ये कहते हैं कि साहब
डरो
अगर
मत।
3 महीने एग्री कर दिया तो आप एक्ट से क्यों 45 दिन फोर्स कर रहे हो?
ये
होना चाहिए।
आप उद्यम नंबर मत दो ना। सो इट इज डिपेंड अपॉन द चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट हु इज गोइंग टू ऑडिट योर बैलेंस शीट। ये जो पहले हमने किया था 2006 में मनमोहन सिंह ने, 2006 Act 15, तो उसमें इतना ही प्रावधान था कि ऑडिटर, चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट हैज़ टू मेंशन इन द बैलेंस शीट हाउ मच आउटस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द SMEs, स्मॉल एंड माइक्रो का आउटस्टैंडिंग कितना है, उतना उसको मेंशन करना था. यानी वो बिना नाखून वाला और दांत वाला शेयर था. 2022 में निर्मला सीतारामन जब हमारे महाराष्ट्र प्रदेश के अधिवेशन को मुंबई में आई थी, तो मैंने कहा मैडम 2022 चल रहा है, इलेक्शन अभी दरवाजे पे है, MSME कम्युनिटी बहुत बड़ी है, इतनी बड़ी है और उनको जोड़ लो सब चार कम से कम तो 28-30 करोड़ की है, तो ये भी आपकी वोट बैंक है. वो चाहे जुलूस नहीं निकाले, मोर्चा नहीं निकाले, लेकिन उसको समझो, आप इसको 43B से जोड़ दो, बहुत फ़ायदा हो जाएगा. MSME बढ़ जाएगी और MSME ही एक्सपोर्ट बढ़ा सकती है, MSME ही इंपोर्ट सब्सटीट्यूट डेवलप कर सकती है. बात ध्यान में रखो, नहीं तो ये बड़ी कंपनियां इंपोर्ट ही करती रहेंगी, सस्ता मिलती है चाइना से. तो हमारा जो प्रॉब्लम है ना, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर ये प्रॉब्लम है और MSME उसको बढ़ावा दे सकती, बड़ी कंपनियां नहीं. वो सस्ता मिलता है, सब चाइना से ले लेंगे और बाद में चाइना ने हाथ वर कर दिया सेमीकंडक्टर के लिए, तो सब कंपनियां बंद पड़ जाती है. कोरोना में देखा है हमने. तो don't depend upon the big companies. Micro and small companies is the backbone of the nation perfectly, but it is a growth engine of the nation. Be sure about it.
हम उसके लिए एक अलग पैनल रखेंगे. Thank you so much. Time is totally up, but it has really been insightful. हमें बहुत अच्छा लगा मातृभाषा में भी आपसे बात करके और आपसे समझ के. हम एंटी नेशनल नहीं हैं. Of course.
मैं तो मराठी मीडियम में पढ़ा, उस जमाने में ऐसी क्रेज नहीं थी कि अंग्रेजी मीडियम.
बिल्कुल. But thank you so much for joining us and taking out time today. Thank you.
A round of applause for all our panelists present here with us today. Also, I would request Ms. Neha to present a small token of appreciation to all our panelists. Which we would like to thank all our panelists and moderator for this insightful session. So before we move ahead towards our next session, let me once again remind you about India's largest SME awards, the awards that celebrate excellence in MSMEs and received 15,000 entries last year. This year, the ET MSME Awards are hosted by Aditya Birla Finance as presenting partner. And participation is open for micro, small, and medium enterprises across 22 award categories. So this is your chance. You can nominate your business by visiting the program website www.etmsmeawards.com. The last date is approaching fast, so we would be delightful to have you as nominations for these awards. And now it's time to move ahead towards our next session. And for the same, I would like to invite Mr. Shantanu Basu, Head SME, Aditya Birla Finance Limited, India, to share about celebrating success, ABFL's journey with India's thriving SMEs. A round of applause for Mr. Shantanu for joining us here today.
Good evening, everyone. I think in the previous panel, the last line that I heard was MSMEs are the backbone of the economy, and I think at ABFL we couldn't agree more. Yeah. we've heard a lot of figures being spoken about. 30% of the GDP is contributed by MSMEs today, and the government is taking steps to try and take it to about 50%. And through this journey, as we see the economy move ahead, at Aditya Birla Finance, as we focus on providing credit for the growth journey of MSMEs, we've been taking steps that kind of mirrors this journey. So in the last 2 years, from March 22 to recently, we've grown from a branch presence, a location presence of 91 to about 403. So in the last 2 years, our presence has gone up multifold. And in the same period, if we look at, and Rakesh had referred to the credit gap for MSMEs. So the industry, the bank and the non-bank credit for MSMEs in this period grew at a CAGR of 14% through this period. In the same period, the credit extended to MSMEs by ABFL, we had a CAGR of 41%. So while the industry has been growing at 14% in terms of the credit extended to MSMEs, the credit extended by ABFL to the same sector, we've been doing more to try and extend, get more funding available to MSMEs for their growth. We do understand that this space is critical for the economy. I think MSMEs today, and I would, taking away from the previous panel discussion, MSMEs today are contributing almost 45% of the exports. So I think the credit substitution that was spoken about a while back, and this is expected to be only going up. And we are quite excited to partner with the MSMEs in India and partnering with ET through the regional MSME forums. And while we are working together with MSMEs in providing credit, I think it's only fair to recognize the great work being done by MSMEs in this journey in the economy. And we are excited to partner with ET on this journey. One of the things which was spoken about earlier was the challenges with which MSMEs are facing, the compliance challenge, the challenge of managing their own businesses. And so as a entity, when we are talking about partnering with MSMEs, we are not looking at just providing finance. We are trying to do much more than that. And I think to talk more about it, Sirish, my colleague, will come over. We have a fantastic platform called the Udyog Plus, where we are not only looking at finance, but much more beyond that. So I'll invite Sirish to come over and talk about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Shantanu. Yeah, thank you, Shantanu. And just taking his point ahead, and I think over the last sections we have seen, and we truly, and it has clearly come out, right, why all of you who represent those 63 million MSMEs in India, right, are the backbone of the economy. We also have, in the earlier session, right, tried to bring forth the pain points that all of you have to go through, right, and the struggle. And then we saw some of the stories, right, and all the esteemed dignitaries in the earlier session spoke about it. One thing is clear, right, and this is somehow we also realize when we engage with all of you, when we speak to all of you, it is of course hard to start a business, and it takes courage to start a business. I think it is also harder to then keep it afloat and then maintain that business, grow that business. Why we are here is, while Shanu spoke out in the last 2-3 years, Aditya Birla Finance has been ahead of the industry in partnering with small businesses in India. The kind of credit and the kind of credit we have given to this segment is much more and has come at a faster pace than the overall industry has grown like. In the same context and taking it ahead, we are very excited that last year we also launched a platform, and this platform is known as Udyog Plus for all small business owners in India. And what we realize is that finance is just one aspect of what you manage in your day-to-day life. What also matters to you is how you manage your day-to-day operation for managing your business, running your business, and how do you actually grow your business. And with that thought, we realized that why not while we are providing credit to all small businesses, why don't we create a platform that actually becomes a one-stop shop for small business owners so that they don't have to go at multiple places, and they do not only get access to all financial solutions, and here we do not only talk about loans, but there are plethora of other financial solutions that typically a small business would require. We have also brought in various business solutions that helps you in managing your operations and growing your business. And over the next 5-10 minutes, I'll talk about this platform. And this is an open platform. I would invite all of you to please experience this platform. You can access this platform on your mobile, right setting here. You can access it through your desktop. It is open platform. You need not be a customer of Aditya Birla Finance, but still access this platform and various services which are on this platform. So Udyog Plus, in a nutshell, is a platform that provides 360-degree requirements of small businesses, not only of the business itself, but it's an entire ecosystem. So through Udyog Plus, we have brought digitally all the services and solutions that a small business would need. And as you see on the screen, so we have all sort of financial solutions that typically a small business would require, starting from unsecured loans to supply chain finance, and we spoke about the delayed payments issue. So there are products available which can help you in bridging this credit gap and an excess finance to keep your business afloat. All those solutions can be accessed digitally on this platform. And of course, once through this platform, we help you in identifying the right solution. There is also assistance built in where we can also, through our network of branches, through our network of sales team, we can come to your doorstep and help you in availing some of these financial products. We not only have financial products for the entity, we have tried to sort of cater to all the employees and the ecosystem of the entity. And I think we heard that even an employee in a small business unit, right, faces a lot of challenges. And in the last session, and they also face challenges in accessing financial solutions and credit in the country. We have also built in solutions for employees of small businesses, where through this platform, all business owners like you can also enable your employees to access a lot of financial solutions on this platform. So it is not only for the business entity, but for employees working into small businesses. This platform acts as one-point shop to fulfill all the financial requirements. Apart from it, we have also partnered with various service providers in the country, leading service providers who provide solutions to small businesses that actually enable small businesses to grow. So there is a business networking platform that all of you can access on Udyog Plus. It's a free of cost platform where you get to network with other like-minded businesses, other business owners, not only in your geography, but even outside your city, right? And can meet prospective buyers, prospective sellers. If you want to promote your products, this also gives you an online medium to promote your products where you can actually go out, run promotional campaigns, and then find avenues to grow your business. So this networking platform is also available on Udyog Plus for all small businesses to cater to. We also have some sort of operational tools available. And here again, we have partnered with leading service providers where you get tools like invoicing platforms, your HR planning platforms, payroll platforms, and all these platforms and services come at special subscription, discounted subscription, so that not only all these solutions are available at one place, they also come at a benefit, and you can avail them very, very seamlessly. So just getting into some of the details, these are some of the products and solutions that are available on Udyog Plus. And as I told you, all of you can access this platform and go through these products. Not only go through these products, you can actually avail these products through very seamless, intuitive digital journeys. So among the financial products, we have unsecured business loan. To very micro businesses, we are giving these loan up to 3 lakhs without any documentation. So completely end-to-end digital process without asking any income document, any bank statement, any GST return. We are offering credit up to 3 lakhs to micro businesses. And of course, if a business looks at a higher ticket size, their journey and the system has all the provision to access your banking with your consent to access your GST and also work out an offer. So this platform actually gives a loan offer to small businesses within minutes. And if the loan offer is accepted, the business owner can actually proceed with the disbursement. And the complete loan fulfillment process is digital and happens in few minutes over this journey. To bridge your credit and working cycle gap, there are also supply chain solutions on the channel side. If you are supplying to a large manufacturer, we can do vendor financing. If you are purchasing or you are a distributor of a large manufacturer or a corporate, we can provide channel finance. So even those working capital solutions are also available on this platform. Apart from lending, as I told you, since we have tried to put together and bring together all financial solutions, this also offers insurance, investment products that might suit your business, and you can come here and choose the right product for your business depending on what stage of business you are. This is a short glimpse of all the value-added services that I spoke about. So as I told you, idea is not only to help you in meeting your financial requirements. Idea is also to help you and enable you in running your business and growing your business. And that is where we have partnered with some of the leading players who provide these services. And as you see, all these services are available on a click of a button. These services are available at either discounted subscriptions or some benefit that otherwise you would find in open market. And also, all these solutions are available at one place, so it becomes easier for any small business owner. Rather than going and dealing with multiple service providers, you can come on this platform and avail all those services. These are some of the growth solutions that we feel can help any small business owner in today's digital world to grow their business and even growing beyond the boundaries of the geography where they operate into. So as I was speaking about, there is a business networking platform. There are already over 500,000 small businesses on this platform, and using this platform to network with other like-minded businesses to find prospective buyers, prospective sellers. We have also tied up with seller app platforms on ONDC, so if a small business also wants to start selling online and increase its reach, that also is possible through very simple steps on this platform. And there are also knowledge partners available on Udyog Plus to help you with various content on knowledge. So if you are looking at any specialized content, if you are looking at training programs, all of these programs, content is available on this platform, and this actually becomes one-stop shop for availing all these services. So while I was talking about that, all these journeys, if you're looking for a credit facility or a loan, all these journeys are digital. Here, it's just an example, right, how you can avail it within minutes on Udyog Plus platform. The whole process is digital. As a business owner, you can log into this platform, start your application. As I told you, if you're looking at a loan up to 3 lakhs, we will not even ask for any income document, banking document. If the requirement is more than 3 lakhs, then of course, we'll give you option of either providing your banking or GST. You can upload your bank statement. If you are on an account aggregator framework, you can also give us consent to access your account statement directly. And even you can give your consent to access your GST details. And through that, we can work out an offer and offer your loan instantly, which you can accept and also proceed ahead with disbursement, and the money gets credited into your account immediately and instantly. These are some of the screens of the journey, and the reason I put it is you will find all these screens are very intuitive, very simple. It's not a complex flow where we are asking so many details. Any small business owner can actually go through this journey, complete all these steps within minutes, and avail an unsecured loan on the platform. Some of the screens giving you an idea how the offer is shown. Very simply, you get to see the offer with all the details. Very transparently, you get to see the rate of interest, the fee that comes along with the loan. And once you accept all these terms and conditions, you can proceed with the disbursement. And the money gets credited directly into your account instantly. Similarly, to help you in bridging your working capital gap, there are supply chain solutions. I told you, if you are supplying to anybody, if you're purchasing goods from any other entity, we can provide finance on both the sides, help you in bridging your working capital gap. And here again, there are multiple arrangements. Whether you're a distributor or a retailer, there are solutions that we can work out for each one of you to help you bridging your working capital loans. This again is, the endeavor is to provide you these journeys in a digital manner so that you can, while you are busy managing your business on a day-to-day basis, the loan application process doesn't become too cumbersome for each one of you, and you can avail all these products again digitally, seamlessly on Udyog Plus. For higher ticket sizes, we also have secured lending products on the platform. So while so far I was talking of unsecured products, whether it was unsecured business loan or supply chain solution, we also offer secured products. So if you're looking at higher ticket sizes, you have a collateral to offer. again, all these products are available on this platform for you to avail seamlessly. So while this was a glimpse of various solutions, right, both financial and business solutions that are available and any small business owner can access, since we also have an audience representatives from various trade associations, we heard some of those dignitaries speaking in the earlier section. We are also very keen, and we understand that all these trade association, market association play a very important role in promoting the cause of growth of MSME, and we are very keen to partner with even all of you and bring all the services which are on Udyog Plus available and accessible to your members of your association, and for which the team is here. We would want to network with you. We will engage with you after this session and want to explain you how we can work together with all of you in providing some of the services which your members who are running their own business might require on a day-to-day basis, and would want to actually work with you in assisting your members in growing their business, and would want to be a partner in growth. There are multiple models we can work out with various trade associations, and we would be happy to take this conversation forward. I think, yeah, with this, I would just want to summarize, and I would want to, rather more than summarizing, invite all of you to try out this platform. As I told you, it's an open platform. You can right now access on your mobile. You can go to Aditya Birla Capital website and can access it. You can directly log on to udyogplus.adityabirlacapital.com. It's a free platform. It just needs one-time registration, which is a one-step process, and you get access to all financial solutions and non-financial solutions that can help you in running your business, growing your business. So do try out Udyog Plus, and we would love to hear feedback from all of you of this platform. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sir, I request you to please stay here with us for a moment. So we do have some time on our hands. So if in the audience anybody has any questions for him, we are opening it for Q&A for a while. If anybody has any questions, you can just raise your hands. Sir, I would request you to please be here with us, and I would be inviting Mr. Pran on stage to hand over a small token of appreciation for Sir for joining us here. A round of applause for him for joining us here today. I would also like to invite Mr. Shantanu here on stage to receive a small token of appreciation from us. So if anyone has any questions for ABFL, so you can reach out to our team right here. Mr. Yash Gonekar, Regional Sales Manager, SME. A round of applause for Sir for joining us here. Also, we have with us Mr. Chandra Prakash Agarwal, Zonal Sales Manager. A round of applause for Mr. Chandra Prakash Agarwal also for joining us here. So our team is going to be here. If you have any questions for them, they'll be available to answer it. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being here with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, we know you all were looking forward to Mr. Indraneel Chitle's session, but we regret to inform you that he won't be able to make it here today due to some medical emergency. So, with that, we have come to an end to this beautiful evening. We hope you found it as engaging as we did. We would like to once again thank all our esteemed speakers, audience, and our presenting partner, Aditya Birla Finance Limited. Also, as we know, the evening has come to an end, but we do have the networking dinner where you can talk to one another, ask questions to our speakers and our panelists. So thank you so much for joining us here. Also, do follow economictimes.com for news, perspectives, and more on MSME-focused initiatives through the year. And before we end this evening, a round of applause for each one of you for joining us here and making this evening so special. Thank you so much.
DCCI का वीडियो है, वो भी जाएगा। मैं दिखा रहा हूँ, एक बार दिखाना आपके पास कौन कौन सी वीडियोस हैं। 2.5 मिनट की DCCI की भी होगी।